ANC will hold its 103rd anniversary celebrations at the Cape Town Stadium this weekend. Members of the party's NEC have been deployed throughout the Western Cape to engage communities on the significance of these celebrations. They will also highlight the work that the ANC has done in the province since the ushering in of the democratic dispensation. The ruling party yesterday briefed the media about its preparations. And joining us from Cape Town today is the ANC Western Cape chairperson, Mr. Marius Fransman. Very good morning, Mr. Fransman. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Eben, and good morning, viewers.
So, Fransman, just quickly, the press conference was held yesterday. Just give us what was announced and what can we expect, not just on Saturday, but the rest of the week in the Cape.
Let me first of all just say that this is an exciting week, but also I must say on behalf of the ANC in the Western Cape, Eben, just again, Happy New Year and everything of the best for everyone. As I've listened to and looked at the story just now about the matric results, I was reminded of the year 1987 when one were waiting and wondering, will you pass, will you not pass, and all of that. And I can just say to all the matriculants that made it, well done. On behalf of the ANC, as we celebrate our birthday of 103 years, we are also saying well done. But also to those that didn't make it, everything of the best and continue to try and do the re-exams. We've discussed yesterday with the Secretary General, the top 6 of the ANC is in the Western Cape. The National Executive Committee of the ANC is here. Everyone is here from the length and breadth of the Western Cape. We've got 6 regions of the ANC. We are coming from near and afar, rural areas, urban areas, coastal communities, the valleys and the hills of the Western Cape. And we're also being joined by other places outside of the Western Cape. So this is going to be a very important event hosted in the Western Cape. It's a national event even, and normally what happens once every 9 years, a province gets this opportunity. So we are making the best and the most of it. Today, our leadership, our top 6, the President, Deputy President, Secretary General, and National Chair, and others are in the province. They'll be going from area to area, engaging communities, inviting people to our celebration. So we just welcome everyone to come enjoy and celebrate the oldest liberation movement in Africa and one of the organizations that actually made sure that over decades we can fight for non-racialism, justice, social justice, and reconciliation.
The significance of this celebrations happening in the Western Cape is almost a little bit ironic, isn't it?
Let's say that the Western Cape, historically, if we remember, long before the year 1652, in fact, the first war of resistance took place in Cape Town. Yeah. I was yesterday again reminded when I saw the way the provincial government and the city government is messing around with a very important cultural heritage coming from slavery when it comes to the Minstrels Road March. And so, yes, we had serious forms of resistance historically. Secondly, somehow, I call it a politics of deflection and deception in the Western Cape. They embrace, as a government in this province, the new democracy, but the way they develop resources, reallocation, separate development that continues in this province, and the way our elders, if they're black, colored, African, and Indian, the way they're being treated. So there is a bit of irony in that, but we must say that the ANC has decided naturally, historically, to go from province to province post-1990, post the unbanning. Every year, the birthday is happening in a province, in a particular geographical area. And we are saying the Western Cape cannot be an enclave. It can't be, the way Helen Zille wants to put it, a republic outside of the broader South Africa. So Western Cape is part and parcel of South Africa, and we must embrace our African spirit in that process.
You talk about the politics of deception. We've seen the difficulty that you've had with the issues around the use of the stadium and so forth, and then also the Minstrel Carnival being thrown into the mix now as one of the reasons. How do you view this, and how do you view the difficulties that the minstrels are having with having the event?
Even just think about it. Imagine any significant cultural and heritage event suddenly being moved from pillar to post, from one day to another, on the whim of who governs. Now, that is wrong. In fact, we've said nationally, we must make sure that we declare the heritage route and the minstrels as a heritage. We must declare it a national responsibility because they're being played around. And I think there's an impression being created that these are people that just don't know what they were doing. So they're good enough when it's voting time for the Democratic Alliance, but when their culture needs to be portrayed, then there is a problem. Think about the Rio Carnival. Since when do the Rio Carnival being stopped 2-3 days before the time? Now, this is much more deeper than a Rio Carnival. This is about our legacy. So what has happened here? Historically, it happens on the Tweede Nuwe Jaar for more than 100 years. You must remember it comes from the slave history. Secondly, 3-4 years ago, Helen Zille, when she was the premier, she started to say they can't walk into the Boer Cup, meaning the first attack on the culture. The second attack on the culture is to change it from the Tweede Nuwe Jaar a year ago to try and push it out. This year, we saw initially Tweede Nuwe Jaar, then the 3rd of January on the Saturday. The minstrel agreed with that. However, when there was a important religious evening for the Muslims, there was an arrangement to do it early enough. Then at 3 days before the time, they were requested to do it on the 5th. When the 5th happened, which is a normal working day, the city didn't make the proper logistical support arrangements for the minstrels. Now Patricia de Lille runs around and she's accusing the ANC of lying. She's accusing the minstrels of lying. My advice to her is just reflect internally. Why is it so difficult for the city to make sure that they give all professional support to this working class community, in the colored community, to make that this is the best event that we can find every year in Cape Town? And I think what we are seeing is an onslaught. We are saying to the minstrels also, get your act together, make sure that your management structures is in place, and ensure that you are able to outmaneuver these onslaughts. Finally, on the point is on Saturday, whether the minstrels going to walk or not, we are saying the ANC will not stand in the way of the minstrels community to make sure that their heritage are protected and advanced. We are calling on Patricia de Lille to, in fact, to be mature enough. I know Patricia's heart is right, but I do know a party is having a different agenda, and we are calling on her to realize this one's Mensa. It's our people. It's ordinary community. It's working class people. And let's go and celebrate the minstrels community events as well.
Mr. Fransman, one more question, and you've got about a minute to answer it. Matric results in the Western Cape were well down. How do you view that?
That is the implication of when you close schools, 27 schools being closed, and you don't care. The former MEC, a year ago, when they closed the schools in Manenberg, in Valhalla Park, and Nova Park, he said it really doesn't matter. People would be able to go and take transport elsewhere. Rural enrollment is the lowest in the country, the Western Cape. We are saying reallocate resources to the most disadvantaged. It's only when resources, system support, and those allocations happen that we can get better. But it needs introspections by the so-called best-run province. Helen Zille must get off the high horse of beauty competitions when it comes to these things and saying she's the best. We must actually introspect and do better. But I must say to the parents, as well as to the teachers, thank you for what you've done to make sure that our children can get a better future.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Live from Cape Town, that is the ANC Western Cape chairperson, the leader of the African National Congress in the Western Cape, Marius Fransman. We talk about a whole range of issues from, the ANC's 103rd celebrations that's going to take place there, including the Minstrel Carnival that's under pressure. Nobody knows what's happening. Confusion reigns there, and also matric results. But let's have a look.